So identifying the key scholars in the field I was looking into became a little bit of a, it required some strategy. So I spent some time looking at my theory and methodology, which was discourse analysis, and trying to understand, as I read about different ways to do discourse analysis, which scholars were emerging over and over again in the citations I was reading, and which of those scholars were writing over and over again about the topics I was focused on, which was primarily education, education policy, education administration. So as I started to see those names reemerge, I was able to discern that these are some of the key people publishing. I also worked with members of my committee. So Dr. Holloway Leibel was on my committee, and she's a discourse analysis scholar, and so she was also able to point me in the direction of, here are 5 people you want to be sure you look into. So in addition to that, I spent time searching key terms in my field. So I combined like ed policy, discourse analysis, educational leadership, and performance measures, and I would pair those all into a search on ProQuest. And this was with the recommendation of Lauren Bonella in the library. And so what would begin to emerge with those would either be a recent paper or a thesis or dissertation that would again point me to, like, these are 10 scholars I continue to see over and over and over again. And that helped me establish these are the people that I need to be reading. In terms of how to know when you've really saturated that reading, that was a little tougher. And I think it always will be in scholarship, because there's always graduate students that are publishing new work and tenure track faculty that are putting out new information. So for me, it really became about compiling a way to organize all of the reading I did do. And then as I started to get deep into that reading and started to see the same themes emerge, or felt like I could kind of like, I'm picturing a web in my mind, but build together a network of, here's what this scholar said on this topic, here's what this one said, here's how I understand them coming together. And I would start to see the same articles cited over and over again across all the articles I was reading. Then I start to begin to feel like I had really gotten a good sense of the field. Now, I don't ever think I'm going to fully saturate in terms of all the reading that I could do. But I think to the extent that as I was reading new things and could say, oh yeah, I remember this article that they're citing here, or yes, I've read that article as well, then I started to really feel like I had really deeply rooted myself in the field. I knew who the scholars they were citing were, what they were saying, the keywords and how those connected, and there weren't huge gaps in what I was studying. To get there, I would make notes, like as I read, if I felt like there was a gap in, let's say, a definition that was used that I had no context for, then I'd go look at 5 or 10 articles on that keyword. But yeah, so it took a little bit of time, took a couple months, but once I got there, I felt pretty settled. And that's the role of your committee and your prelims as well. They'll help you make sense of any of that literature you might still be missing.